Hey, welcome back to Business 101, Introduction to Business. And as you can see in the slide, what we're dealing with today in this 10th video is adjusting the job, and specifically adjusting the contours and demands of the job in order to better fit the employee and to provide the employee additional motivation and enrichment. Now, this very much follows on the heels of our last video, number 9. If you remember, that video ended with the whole topic of participative management and empowerment. In other words, as you can see there, the method of increasing job satisfaction by giving employees a voice in the management of their jobs and the company. And this whole aspect of adjusting the job is part of participative management and empowering the worker to have a say-so in how the job itself is designed. So some of the tools that are used in this form of empowerment and participative management, you can see in this slide, the first is job enrichment, a method of increasing job satisfaction by adding one or more motivating factors to job activities. Picture for a moment an assembly line type of environment where a worker perhaps is doing the same steps, just 3 steps over and over and over again as this endless conveyor belt of production units flows past them, just the same 3 jobs over and over again. Over time, of course, not very enriching, not very mentally challenging. It's just sort of numbing and anesthetizing, right? And so in those kinds of environments, what job enrichment might look like is adding a form of job rotation, where an employee not only does that station's capacity of 3 jobs, but then on an occasional basis is rotated perhaps to another station where they're able to do different tasks, thereby giving them perhaps adding to their growth, adding to their knowledge of how the product is built, adding to their expertise, as well as just simply giving them some variety in their work activities so they don't go numb and get bored and go out of their heads. Now, the second thing mentioned on this slide, you see there, job redesign, a method of increasing job satisfaction. How? By designing a more satisfactory fit between workers and their jobs. Now, in this particular textbook, job redesign is expanded upon to include 3 possible different methods, and you see them here in this next slide. Job redesign could be combining tasks, forming natural work groups, or establishing client relationships. What does that mean? Well, you see the first one, combining tasks, involves enlarging the job itself and increasing variety to make employees feel that their work is more meaningful. This is very much similar to what we saw before as job enrichment, this idea of expanding the contours and demands of the job to help employees feel that the work's more meaningful, has more purpose. The second one, forming natural work groups, helps employees see the importance of their jobs in the total structure of the firm. And so many times what you'll do is folks who are all doing the same job, or folks who are doing the same sets of capacities in a place in the process, to let them work together in a natural work group. It's natural for them to see their jobs and their roles and accountability intertwined together, and so you let them work together and communicate with each other. Then finally, the third one, establishing client relationships, is just what it says there, letting employees have more interaction with customers. And what you find there, many cases, that employees who previously were isolated from clients and customers, when they get in real contact with them, not only does that increase and expand the client's relationship with the company because they get to talk to more employees, folks perhaps who are directly in contact with the delivery of their product or service, but it expands the knowledge base and the empathy of the employee as you get to really see how their job impacts actual customers in their lives. That can be very powerful thing. But you see there then, this slide, 3 different ways of redesigning a job to make it more satisfactory to the employee. Another way that you can adjust the job to fit employees' needs and demands is to accommodate their schedules. You see there, modified work schedules, 3 different ways that we can do that: through work or job sharing, a method of increasing job satisfaction by allowing 2 or more people to share a single full-time job, through flex time programs, the second point, method of increasing job satisfaction by allowing workers to adjust work schedules on a daily or weekly basis. So now the worker themselves has the ability to adjust their own work schedule. And finally, telecommuting, a form of flex time that allows people to perform some or all of a job away from standard office settings. And of course, this is a perfect example, right? Our telecommuting experience, both as instructors and as students, has been, well, sort of forced upon us, and now we're encountering a brave new world trying to adjust this class in a mandatory telecommuting experience. Now, it does need to be said, when we talk about modified schedules and alternative workplaces, there are pros and there are cons, and you see them here on the screen. Some of the advantages, especially the immediate advantages of telecommuting and modified schedules. More satisfied, committed employees. Hey, my job, man, this is awesome. There's a couple days I get to work from home. Reduced stress as a result. Improved productivity. Less congestion, not only in the office, but also traffic and commute times, those kinds of things. But there are disadvantages. You see some of them listed there. Telecommuting is indeed challenging to coordinate and manage. Modified work schedules even more so. If you're having more than one person share the same job, well, how do you figure out where the division of labor is, right? Second point, it's also a poor fit for some workers. Let's just be honest. Some workers need the discipline of physical accountability, and they just are not able to exercise the self-discipline to make telecommuting really work for them. There is, by definition, a lack of network and coworker contact when people are working from home, and that can be a very real detrimental element to this whole exercise over time. And quite frankly, one of the reasons why sometimes telecommuting fails is simply because senior management really doesn't believe in it. I never did that. I never got to do that. Back in my day, you darn kids, get off my lawn. And as a result, the lack of management buy-in sort of sabotages the entire proposition before it even gets out of the gate. Now, when we take all of these possible options together, what are we really talking about? We are talking about the very real need to make job and career life satisfying for the human being who is engaged in the work. It is no longer enough for the command and control style of leadership that says, hey, you do what I tell you because I'm giving you a paycheck. That just does not work in today's work climate. Not that it ever really did. It certainly doesn't work now. And so these are just some examples of ways to adjust the job and adjust the work environment so that people feel more motivated to bring their very best worker to work for the sake of performance and meeting organizational goals. I hope that helps some. We'll see you in the very last lecture of this module, lecture number 11. Take care. See you in the next lecture.